Captain Myra Kellen adjusted the controls of her small spacecraft, the Starwind, as it descended toward the moon's surface. She stared out at the barren landscape below, a pale gray wasteland of jagged rocks, craters, and dust that shimmered faintly in the distant sun. This moon orbited a massive gas giant that glowed with orange and blue streaks in the sky. To most humans, it was lifeless, but Myra had a hunch that something waited here, something important. She had read the old reports. Decades ago, a human colony had been established here to mine rare minerals and test long-term settlement on moons far from Earth. The colony had thrived for a few years, but all contact had suddenly stopped. No emergency signals, no distress calls, nothing. Earth had sent probes in small teams, but nothing had returned with a clear answer. Myra was the latest in a long line of explorers tasked with solving the mystery. The landing was rough. The Starwind's thrusters kicked up gray dust, which rolled across the surface in waves. Myra gripped the control stick tightly as she eased the ship into a flat area near the colony's main settlement. When the engines finally shut down, the silence was absolute, not even the faint hum of life. She took a deep breath and stepped into her suit, the helmet sealing with a soft hiss. She grabbed her exploration pack, which contained portable scanners, lights, and a few tools for emergency repairs. Her boots crunched against the dusty ground as she approached the colony gates. The structures were made of dull metal, now coated with decades of dust, and the strange, resilient moss that had grown in the lack of human maintenance. Doors were hanging off their hinges. Windows were cracked or clouded with grime. The place looked abandoned, but Myra could feel it. This was a place where humans had lived, worked, and dreamed, and something had gone wrong. The first building she entered was the main habitat dome. The air was stale but breathable thanks to the emergency life system still humming weakly. The lights flickered on as she passed, responding to her movement. She saw tables scattered with papers, equipment left mid-use, and personal items, photos, a small toy robot, even a coffee mug with a faded logo. It was as if the colonists had vanished in a hurry. Myra activated her scanner and swept the area. The readings were strange. There were signs of energy spikes in certain areas, as if someone, or something, had tampered with the colony's systems before leaving. She tapped a few commands into her wrist pad and retrieved old logs stored in the main computer. The entries were fragmented but chilling. Systems failing, cannot contact Earth, must evacuate, something happened in the mines. She remembered reading that the colony's hangar was small, designed for transport shuttles, not large spacecraft. She made her way toward the hangar, curiosity and unease growing with every step. The hangar doors were partly open, warped from years of neglect. Myra pushed them aside and froze. Inside, buried under decades of dust and debris, was a spaceship. Unlike any design she had ever seen, sleek and tall, with smooth curves and strange markings along its hull. The symbols were unfamiliar but faintly human in style, like something from ancient Earth legends, brought to life in metal and energy. Her scanner went wild, picking up faint energy readings coming from the ship. Myra stepped closer, her pulse quickening. The ship was not dead. It hummed faintly, almost as if it were aware of her presence. She ran her gloved hand along the hull, cold, solid, but when she placed her palm near the main hatch, the door slid open silently. A soft light spilled out, illuminating the dark hangar. Myra hesitated. She had been trained for caution, for unknown dangers. Yet something about the ship called to her, a quiet promise of discovery. Taking a deep breath, she stepped inside. The interior was more impressive than she could have imagined. Panels glowed with soft blue lights. The air smelled faintly of ozone, and the controls seemed to respond as she moved through the corridors. She noticed that some areas were lined with data ports and displays showing images of stars, galaxies, and planets she had never seen before. The ship was not just advanced, it was alive in a way humans had never achieved. Myra found a central chamber, a cockpit-like space that looked more like a living room. There, she discovered a recording device, and when she activated it, a holographic figure appeared. The figure was of a human, a pilot or engineer, speaking in a calm, steady voice. "If you are seeing this, the colony has failed and the ship remains. It was never meant to be left behind. This vessel can take humanity further than we ever imagined, but it is dangerous. Only those who understand the weight of human responsibility can command it." The recording went on, explaining that the ship had been built as a prototype for advanced interstellar travel, capable of reaching speeds faster than anything previously possible. It had been abandoned when the colony faced a sudden crisis, a structural failure in the mines that caused energy surges affecting the settlement. The colonists had evacuated using smaller shuttles, leaving the larger ship behind. Myra absorbed the words, heart pounding. This ship could change everything. It could take humanity to the stars in ways she had only dreamed about. But there was a warning. The engineer mentioned that the ship responded not just to controls, but to the pilot's mind and willpower. Only those with courage, intelligence, and creativity could hope to command it. She ran her hands along the control panels, feeling the hum of energy beneath her fingers. The ship seemed to respond, lights brightening as if acknowledging her presence. Myra smiled. Humanity had built something incredible here, and she had found it. But the discovery also brought unease. The colony's logs suggested that whatever forced the evacuation might still exist in some form. Myra's scanner detected faint energy pulses that didn't match the ship. Something else was out there, hidden in the ruins, waiting. She needed to be careful. The moon was quiet, almost too quiet. Every step echoed against the metal floors, and shadows seemed to stretch unnaturally in the corners. Despite the tension, Myra explored further. She accessed the ship's memory banks and found old schematics of the colony and surrounding areas. The mines where the colonists had been working were extensive, filled with tunnels that burrowed deep into the moon. Energy readings suggested that the mines had tapped into a rare mineral deposit that could be used to power entire starships. But the extraction had gone wrong, destabilizing part of the colony's infrastructure. She imagined the scene decades ago, human workers navigating the tunnels, unaware of the danger. Then a sudden crisis, the hum of machinery turning into chaos, alarms blaring, and the colony suddenly empty. It was a tragic story, but it had led to this, a lone ship capable of taking humanity further than anyone had ever imagined. Myra's curiosity overcame caution. She activated more systems on the ship, watching as the corridors lit up in response. It was a delicate balance. The ship seemed almost sentient. Every panel and screen was interactive, responding to her thoughts and gestures. The engineering logs were sophisticated but incomplete. She would have to learn quickly if she wanted to unlock the ship's full potential. Hours passed as she explored, analyzed, and documented everything. By the time she returned to the cockpit, the moon's distant sun had shifted, casting long shadows across the hangar. Myra leaned back in her chair, exhausted but exhilarated. She knew this was only the beginning. She also knew the risk. If something had caused the colony's disappearance, it might still be lurking, hidden in the abandoned tunnels or in the shadow of the gas giant above. But she felt ready. Humanity had always thrived on curiosity, courage, and determination, and she embodied that spirit now. The lost ship awaited, and so did the mysteries of the moon colony. Finally, Myra recorded her first report for Earth. Her words were steady, but her excitement was clear. "I have found the colony and I have found the ship. It is unlike anything humanity has ever built. The colony may be gone, but what remains here could take us to the stars. I will continue exploration, but the potential is limitless. Humanity has never faced a challenge like this, and I believe we are ready." As she sent the transmission, Myra looked out the viewport at the barren moonscape. A cold wind swept across the surface, stirring dust into small tornadoes. Yet in the midst of the desolation, she felt a spark of hope. Humanity had reached this far, and with the ship, they could go even further. Stepping back from the controls, Myra prepared for the next stage of exploration, venturing into the depths of the colony and uncovering the full story of what had happened here. She didn't know what awaited her, but she was human, and humans did not shrink from the unknown. They embraced it, mastered it, and carried their courage into the void. And somewhere deep within the ship, the engines hummed quietly, waiting. Myra smiled. The adventure had just begun. Captain Myra Kellen woke to the soft hum of the lost spaceship. The gentle vibrations ran through the floor beneath her boots, a quiet reminder that the ship was not just a machine, but something more. She stretched, ran a hand over the smooth console, and checked her data logs from the previous day. The ship's memory banks had been surprisingly cooperative, responding to her every command as though it recognized her intentions. The sun above the barren moon was low, casting long shadows across the hangar, but Myra was too focused on the ship to notice. She had spent the entire night reviewing schematics, energy readings, and fragments of logs left behind by the colony. Something told her that the abandoned ship held secrets that went far beyond its engines or controls. Humanity had built this vessel for a purpose that was still waiting to be discovered. Myra began her morning with a full scan of the ship. Panels that had been dormant flickered to life, displaying blueprints, star maps, and complex sequences of symbols. The design of the vessel was incredible. It was not only built to travel faster than conventional spacecraft, but also to respond to a human's thoughts. Every control panel, every lever, every holographic interface seemed to read her intentions before she even made a move. Her first task was to understand the energy systems. The ship's engines were powered by a rare form of plasma, held in containment fields that shimmered like liquid light. According to the engineering logs, these engines could sustain faster-than-light travel for years, if properly managed. Myra ran simulations, adjusting containment ratios and testing the feedback loops. Every correction caused a gentle glow to pulse across the ship, almost like it was acknowledging her. Hours passed as she worked, her mind racing with both excitement and caution. The ship was alive in a way humans had never experienced. It responded to ingenuity and problem-solving, almost as though it trusted her because she understood how to think like a human. Myra marveled at this thought. Humanity had always relied on creativity, adaptability, and courage. Perhaps the ship was designed to reward those very traits. Once the systems were partially stabilized, Myra decided it was time to explore the rest of the colony. She suited up and exited the ship, her boots crunching against the dust-covered floor. The hangar was quiet, too quiet. The stillness made her uneasy, but she pushed forward. Using her scanner, she traced faint energy readings to the tunnels beneath the colony. The mines had always been the heart of the settlement, but now they were dark and foreboding. Long-abandoned carts and mining tools littered the floors. The walls of the tunnels were lined with veins of glowing minerals, pulsing faintly as if they still carried the energy the colonists had mined decades ago. Myra's scanner indicated residual energy surges, possibly dangerous if disturbed. As she moved deeper, she discovered evidence of what had caused the colony's abandonment. The tunnels had partially collapsed in some areas, but the real danger came from uncontrolled energy pockets. It appeared that the colonists had been experimenting with extracting a rare mineral capable of producing immense energy, but their calculations had failed. The logs suggested that the resulting surges had forced them to evacuate. Myra paused to examine a wall covered with handwritten notes. She smiled faintly. Despite the danger, humans had always been meticulous, leaving behind records and instructions in every corner. These notes described the mineral's properties, potential applications, and warnings about the instability. She realized that even in desperation, humanity had tried to understand the forces they were working with. Her exploration was interrupted by a faint vibration underfoot. She froze, scanning the area. The reading was weak but unmistakable, something alive deep in the tunnels. Her heart raced. She had expected silence, not signs of life. The scanner suggested it was a small, autonomous maintenance robot left behind by the colonists. It emerged slowly, lights flickering as if uncertain about her presence. Myra crouched and extended a hand. The robot hesitated but eventually activated fully. Its sensors scanned her and a soft voice emitted from its speaker. Warning, energy instability detected. Evacuation recommended. Unauthorized personnel may face hazard. Myra smiled. Humanity had built machines that could think and react, even in isolation. This small robot was proof that humans had always strived to adapt to challenges, leaving solutions behind even when they themselves were gone. She followed the robot as it led her deeper into the tunnels, toward the core of the colony's mining operations. The heart of the mines was astonishing. Vast chambers stretched wide, filled with glowing mineral deposits. Myra's scanner indicated massive energy potential. The minerals could power entire cities or even fuel interstellar travel indefinitely. But the logs also warned of a previous accident, a surge that had nearly destroyed the colony. Myra moved carefully, aware that a single misstep could trigger instability. As she examined the chamber, she noticed strange markings etched into the walls. Symbols that matched those on the lost spaceship. It became clear. The ship and the colony were connected in ways deeper than she had imagined. The colonists had not just abandoned the ship, they had integrated it with their experiments. The vessel had been waiting, designed to respond to someone capable of understanding and controlling the energy they had discovered. Myra spent hours studying the chamber, recording every detail, every mineral vein, and every symbol. She realized that the ship could harness this energy directly, amplifying its capabilities beyond what the logs had described. The thought sent a thrill through her. Humanity had created something extraordinary here, something that could change the future forever. Returning to the ship, Myra activated the cockpit interface. The vessel responded instantly, lights brightening and panels shifting to display new star maps and energy readings. It was as if the ship had sensed her discovery in the mines. She ran simulations, integrating the mineral energy into the engines. The hum of the ship grew stronger, resonating throughout the hangar. Myra smiled. She was beginning to understand the vessel, not just as a machine, but as a partner. But the ship also revealed new challenges. The energy integration was unstable. Small pulses caused minor disturbances in the ship's interior gravity, creating strange visual effects and making movement awkward. Myra realized that piloting this vessel would require constant adaptation, quick thinking, and a deep understanding of both technology and human intuition. She was up to the task. Humanity had always thrived on challenges, and this was the ultimate test. Late in the day, Myra reviewed the ship's logs again. She discovered recordings left by the original pilot, a brilliant engineer named Dr. Alaric Voss. His messages were filled with both caution and hope. The ship is more than a vessel. It is a reflection of the human mind and spirit. Only those willing to embrace uncertainty, to think creatively and courageously, can command it. We designed it to extend humanity's reach, to test our limits. If you are reading this, know that you carry the responsibility of our legacy. Myra felt the weight of his words. She was not alone, but she was the first human in decades to face this challenge. Her mind raced with possibilities. The ship could take her beyond known space, perhaps even beyond the galaxy. She could explore new worlds, uncover lost civilizations, and push humanity further than anyone had ever dreamed. But first, she needed to master the vessel. She spent the next several hours testing controls, running energy simulations, and learning to navigate the complex systems. The ship responded to her commands with a precision and subtlety that amazed her. She realized that it was not just reacting, it was learning, adapting to her thought patterns, anticipating her needs. Myra felt a deep connection to the vessel, a partnership forged from human ingenuity and advanced technology. As night fell on the barren moon, Myra stepped outside the ship for a moment, gazing at the stars above. The gas giant loomed large, casting a soft glow over the landscape. Despite the isolation, she felt a profound sense of hope. Humanity had always reached for the unknown, and here she was, standing at the frontier of possibility. Her scanner picked up one last signal from the tunnels, a faint, pulsing energy. It was unstable but not dangerous, at least not yet. Myra knew she would return to study it further. Whatever had caused the colony to fail was still here, hidden in the shadows. But she also knew that humans had survived worse, and she was determined to succeed. Returning to the ship, Myra activated the navigation systems. Star maps expanded across the panels, displaying points of interest beyond the solar system. She imagined the journeys she could take, the discoveries that awaited, and the challenges she would overcome. Humanity had built the ship, left it behind, and now it was her turn to complete its mission. Before resting, Myra recorded another report for Earth. "I have explored the colony and the mines. The ship is extraordinary. It responds to human thought and action, and it is capable of feats beyond our current understanding. Energy integration is unstable but manageable. I am confident that with care, we can unlock its full potential. Humanity's reach can extend farther than ever before, and I am ready to lead the way." She shut down non-essential systems and sat in the cockpit, letting the hum of the engines lull her to rest. The ship's glow bathed the hangar in soft light, a reminder that even in isolation, humanity's spirit endured. Myra closed her eyes, imagining the stars waiting for her, knowing that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new discoveries, and new opportunities to prove that humans could conquer the unknown. Somewhere in the darkness of the abandoned colony, the faint pulse of energy continued. Myra knew she had not yet uncovered all the secrets, but she also knew this: she was human, and humans never give up. They adapt, they explore, and they push beyond the limits of what is known. And tomorrow, the adventure would continue. The engines of the lost ship pulsed softly, a rhythmic heartbeat in the empty hangar. Captain Myra Kellen adjusted her suit, gripping the control handles with determination. Today was the day she would take the ship beyond the moon, beyond the gas giant, and into the unknown. For decades, humanity had dreamed of reaching the stars. Now she had a chance to make that dream real. She ran final system checks. The energy from the moon's rare minerals had been successfully integrated into the engines, stabilizing the power cores. Navigation systems responded smoothly to her thoughts. It was incredible, like the ship had become an extension of her mind. She could feel the vessel reacting to her emotions, her intentions, her curiosity. Humanity had always relied on ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. Now, the ship would test all of those qualities. Myra activated the takeoff sequence. The hangar doors slid open silently. Outside, the gray dust shimmered under the distant sun. She took a deep breath and engaged the engines. The Starwind lifted smoothly, dust swirling around its hull before she broke free of the moon's weak gravity. The colony disappeared below her, a silent monument to human ambition and perseverance. As she ascended, Myra marveled at the stars. The gas giant's bands of color reflected across the ship's hull, and tiny moons trailed behind it like a halo. She thought of the engineers and colonists who had come before her. They had dreamed of exploration, built the ship, and left it behind. And now she carried their legacy forward. Once in orbit, Myra plotted a course beyond the system. Her destination was a nearby star cluster where data indicated uncharted planets. She felt a thrill of excitement. Humanity had never traveled this far. The ship hummed in response, glowing faintly along its seams, ready to carry her into the void. The first test came sooner than expected. As the ship approached the edge of the moon's gravitational influence, a strange energy anomaly appeared, a swirling cloud of charged particles, stretching across space like a cosmic storm. Myra's instruments detected fluctuations in the ship's energy fields. She gripped the controls, but the ship seemed to sense her intentions, stabilizing itself. The anomaly could have destroyed a conventional spacecraft, but the Starwind adapted, bending energy around itself in a subtle, almost intelligent dance. Myra realized something profound. This ship was not only advanced, it was designed to complement human ingenuity. No machine alone could have managed the anomaly. It responded to her thinking, her problem-solving, and her creativity. She adjusted the energy flow, experimenting with the ship's capabilities. The vessel responded flawlessly, proving humanity's greatest strength was not technology alone, but the mind that controlled it. Once past the anomaly, Myra allowed herself a moment to relax. The stars stretched infinitely in every direction, nebulae glowing with colors she had never seen, and distant planets spinning slowly in the void. She felt a surge of pride and wonder. Humans had always sought the unknown, but few had ever ventured this far. And now she was one of them. Hours passed as Myra tested the ship systems in deep space. She learned to manipulate its engines with thought alone, guiding it through precise maneuvers that would have required teams of pilots in other ships. The vessel responded with grace, as if it trusted her judgment. Every challenge she encountered, from minor energy fluctuations to unexpected gravitational shifts, was overcome with a combination of human skill and the ship's advanced design. But exploration was not without danger. As Myra approached an uncharted nebula, the ship's sensors picked up a gravitational anomaly, an enormous mass of dense matter that threatened to pull the vessel in. Conventional navigation was useless. The pull was too strong. Myra closed her eyes for a moment, thinking quickly. She remembered the engineering logs, the lessons from the abandoned colony, and the way the ship had reacted to her in the past. With careful thought, she adjusted the ship's energy fields, redistributing power to the outer hull. The vessel responded, twisting and bending around the gravitational mass like a living being. Myra held her breath, guiding the ship through the invisible forces. After tense moments, she emerged on the other side, exhilarated. Humanity had survived this far because of courage, intellect, and the will to push forward. Today, she had proved it once again. The next challenge came from within. The ship began to show strange readings in its memory core, fragments of information left by Dr. Alaric Voss, the original engineer. Holographic images flickered to life, showing star maps, energy signatures, and cryptic symbols. Myra realized the ship contained instructions for journeys far beyond anything humans had attempted. These were coordinates to distant star systems, some hundreds of light-years away. Excited, Myra plotted a course. She knew that the ship could take her to worlds no human had ever set foot on. And yet, the journey was not simply about exploration. It was about testing humanity's limits. The ship was alive in its own way, challenging her at every step, and she welcomed it. Humans had always thrived on challenge, and she was ready. Days passed as Myra traveled through the stars. She discovered asteroid fields filled with rare minerals, planets with strange, shimmering atmospheres, and moons that glowed with bioluminescent vegetation. Every discovery was a reminder that the universe was vast and full of possibilities, waiting for humanity to reach out and claim it. At one point, the ship detected an anomaly unlike any she had encountered before. A region of space appeared to bend light and energy around it, forming a swirling vortex. Instruments warned that it was highly unstable. Most humans would have turned back, but Myra saw it as a test. She remembered the lessons of the colony, the risks, the ingenuity required, and the human spirit. She engaged the ship systems, focusing her mind on navigation. The vessel responded instantly, bending around the vortex, stabilizing itself, and allowing her to pass safely. Myra realized that this journey was not just about travel. It was about proving that humans, armed with courage and intelligence, could overcome even the most impossible obstacles. In the quiet moments between challenges, Myra reflected on the journey so far. The lost colony, the abandoned ship, the energy experiments, everything had led to this. Humanity had built tools, machines, and knowledge capable of reaching the stars, but it was the human mind that made the difference. Technology alone was not enough. It was creativity, courage, and adaptability that allowed humans to survive and thrive in the unknown. As she charted a course toward a distant, uninhabited star system, Myra felt a sense of purpose. She was not merely exploring, she was carrying humanity forward. Every decision, every maneuver, and every discovery was a testament to human ingenuity. She smiled, thinking of the people back on Earth who had dreamed of this moment, and of the generations who would follow. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected another anomaly, a massive, swirling cloud of particles moving unpredictably through space. The readings suggested it could disrupt the ship systems completely. Myra's heart raced. This was the ultimate test. She could rely on the ship alone, but she knew that success depended on her ability to think, adapt, and act. She engaged the engines and used every tool at her disposal. The ship twisted and turned, energy flowing in perfect harmony with her commands. Panels lit up, displays shifted, and the vessel seemed to anticipate her next move. After tense moments, she emerged from the particle cloud, victorious. Myra's heart pounded with adrenaline and awe. Humanity had faced the unknown, and once again it had triumphed. The journey continued, each new star, planet, and nebula presenting opportunities and challenges. Myra discovered signals of intelligent life far in the distance, analyzed unknown energy sources, and even encountered remnants of ancient civilizations scattered across space. Each encounter tested her skills, but each victory reinforced the truth she had always known. Humans were capable of extraordinary feats when curiosity, courage, and intelligence guided them. As months passed, Myra began to transmit her findings back to Earth. Her reports were filled with data, discoveries, and reflections on humanity's potential. Scientists, engineers, and explorers on her home planet marveled at her success. The lost ship had become a symbol, not just of advanced technology, but of human spirit. Finally, Myra reached a point where the stars stretched endlessly before her, uncharted and full of possibilities. She paused in the cockpit, gazing at the vast expanse of space. The ship hummed softly, a companion and a guide, responding to her thoughts and intentions. She felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Humanity had reached this far because of ingenuity, courage, and adaptability, and now the future was hers to shape. Myra set the ship on a course deeper into the galaxy, toward worlds waiting to be explored, discoveries waiting to be made, and challenges that would test the limits of human potential. She knew that humanity's journey was just beginning. The lost ship, once abandoned, had become a vessel for humanity's greatest achievement, and Captain Myra Kellen, guided by curiosity, courage, and intelligence, was leading the way. Somewhere in the far reaches of space, the stars waited, and humanity, through her, was ready to meet them. The adventure was far from over. It had only just begun.